Hi, I am a tutor in Uplatz. Today we are going to discuss about embedded C, part 1, introduction and basic data types. What's a language? Simply put, a language is a stylized communication technique. The more varied vocabulary it has, the more expressive it becomes. Then there is a grammar to make many communication statements out of it. Similarly, being more specific, a programming language is a stylized communication technique intended to be used for controlling the behavior of a machine, often a computer, by expressing ourselves to the machine. Like the natural languages, programming languages too, as syntactic rules to form words and semantic rules to form sentences, used to be use to define meaning. Types of languages, programming languages, procedural, to be considered procedural. A programming language should support procedural programming by having an explicit concept of procedure and a syntax to define. Yet it should be ideally support specification of argument types, local variables, recursive procedures, calls on use of procedures in separately built program constructs. It may also support distinction of input and output arguments. The canonical example of procedural programming language is Algol, a language in which the only form of procedures is the method is generally considered object-oriented rather than the procedural and will not be included in this list. This applies to Java but not to C++. Object-oriented programming may be seen as a collection of cooperative objects as opposed to a traditional view in which a program may be seen as a collection of functions or simply as a list of instructions to the computer. In object-oriented programming, each object is capable of receiving messages, processing data, and sending messages to other objects. Each object can be viewed as an example independent little machine with a distinct role or a responsibility. Functional programming languages are a class of languages designed to reflect the way people think mathematically rather than reflecting the underlying machines. Functional languages are based on the lambda calculus, a simple model of computation as a theoretical foundation that allows one to reason formally about the programs written in them. The most commonly used functional languages are standard ML, Haskell, and pure question scheme, a dialect of Lisp, which although they differ in many ways, share most of the properties described here. The logical program-specific computation by giving properties of a correct answer. Prolog and LDL are examples of declarative languages. Since they emphasize the logical properties of a computation, they are often called logic programming languages. The declarative procedure distinction is not rigid. Prolog of necessity incorporates some procedural features, for example, to manage input, output, and simple Boolean or common in Fortran and C in the and within quotes and ideal and within quotes and I should perhaps say that and quotes and ideal to logicians and it's in quotes case writing a declarative programming in equivalent to defining a proof of a proposition, relationship, and many more. Brief history, we have to see most of the computer languages, such as Algol, were academic oriented and realistic and generally defined by committees. Since such languages were defined having application domain in mind, they could not take advantages of the underlying hardware and if done, were not portable or efficient under other systems. It was thought that a high-level language could never achieve efficiency of assembly language. Portable, efficient, and easy to use languages was a dream. C came as such a programming language for writing compilers and operating system. It was a revolutionary language and shook the computer world with its might. With just 32 keywords, C establishes itself in a very wide base of applications. It has lineage starting from CPL, combined programming languages, a never implemented language. Martin Richards implemented PPCL as a modified version of the CPL. Ken Thompson further refined BCPL to a language named as B. Later, Dennis M. Ritchie added the types to B and created a language, what we have as C. For rewriting the Unix operating system, its popularity grew along with the popularity of Unix operating system that contributed along to its success. The C programming language book served as a primary reference for C programmers and implementers alike for nearly a decade. However, it did not define C perfectly, and there were many ambiguous parts in the language. As far as the library was concerned, only the C implementation in Unix was close to the standard. So many dialects existed for C, and it was the time the language has to be standardized, and it was done in 1989 with the ANSI C standard. Nearly after a decade, another standard, C9X, for C is available that provides many significant improvement over the previous 1989 ANSI standard. C is considered as a middle-level language because it possesses the qualities of both high-level and low-level languages. For example, it has most of the control structures present in a high-level language. It also has microprocessor pointers, strings as just character arrays, direct memory manipulation, ability to access hardware, weakly typed nature, and such facilities assemble the assembly low-level language constructs. What are the most important characteristics of the C language? C can be considered as a pragmatic language. It is language for programmers intended to be used commercially and designed in a way to address real problems involved with writing code. This is as opposed to academic or research languages where proper design is given credit without much consideration to pragmatic details. It is intended to be used by advanced programmers for serious ones and not for novices, and thus qualify less as an academic language for learning. What are all the most important characteristics of the C language? Gives the importance to code. For example, an integer is just an int, fng for begin and end, etc. Look at the following C code for string copy and recursive code for string reverse. Character star string copy, character star t is character star n. While star t plus plus equals star s plus plus. Character string reverse, character s return apostrophe star yes question mark s star colon string copy s string concatenate str reverse s plus plus s comma 1. It should also be noted that due to the same property, C became infamous of being a write-only language. It is widely available in various platforms from mainframe to POMPROF and is known for its wide availability. It is a general-purpose language, even though it is applied and used effectively in various specific domains. It is free formatted language and not a strongly typed language. Efficiency and portability are the important considerations that influence many major decisions in this language. For example, for efficiency considerations, storage and evaluation of the internal types as the integers is done. And library facilities play an important role. Standard library provides the often required facilities, for example, string manipulation, mathematical routines. It is often claimed that one of the C's major virtue is it is so small that every programmer understands every construction in the language. The keywords used here is an ANSI 1988 standard auto. This keyword is derived from the B language, where it is used to state that a variable is an automatic variable. That is, the lifetime is automatically entered and destroyed as the method frame is created and destroyed. Since there are no types in B, this keyword was mandatory and used extensively. The keyword was adapted in C to explicitly say that a variable is automatic. Break is used to terminate the innermost looping statement or a switch statement. Case used in switch statements for selecting a particular case. The case should be followed by constant, integral, expression. Char, the basic data type supported for storing characters of one byte size, constant. It specifies the value of a field or a local variable that cannot be modified. Continued. Um, this is used to skip the rest of the statement in a looping statement. Default. This label is used in switch statements. The statements after this label will be executed only when there is no match found in the case labels. Do an exit control. The loop condition is checking at the end of the looping mechanism. Double. Variable of this type can show double precision floating point numbers. Implementations may follow itably formats to represent floats and doubles occupy 8 bits in memory. In this itably format, the addition is in addition to the non-zero values, floating point numbers can also store. 0, either positive or negative, 0, 1, both positive and negative, NaN, not a number in case of an invalid floating point operation, else use if statements. With if statements, else part is executed when condition is in if becomes false. Enum, in C, an enumeration is a set of named constants that were internally represented as integers. They can have take part in the expressions as if they were of integral type. The use of enums is preferable to the use of constants for or defines for representing a related set of values because the use of enums makes the code more readable and self-documenting. Extend, this indicates the name that a name is external to the compiler and the current translation unit. Float. Float is for single precision floating point numbers. ANSI does not specify any representation standard for these steps. Still, it provides a model whose characteristics are guaranteed to be present in any implementation. The standard file float.h defines macros that provide information about the implementation of floating point arithmetic with itemly standard for floating point single precision numbers. A float type occupies 4 bytes. For an elegant looping statement, go to use in unconditional jumps within a function, local go to. If a simple conditional branching statement in C, any non-zero value is treated as a true value and will lead to execution of the statement. INT is to represent integers, a simple and efficient type of arithmetic operation. In C, the size of an integer is usually the word size of the processor. Although the compiler is free to choose the size, however, ANSI does not permit an integer which is less than 16 bits. Long, short, long, and init are provided to represent various sizes of possible integral types supported by the hardware. ANSI says that the size of these types is implementation defined, but they ensures the non-decreasing order of characters, short, init, long, and explicit. Non-decreasing order means that the sizes are character short, init, long, and not the other way. Register, you can specify a local variable as a register if you think that variable may be accessed frequently. The compiler will try to put that variable in a microprocessor register if one is available. Otherwise, this keyword is ignored and treated as if the variable were declared as auto. Declaring such frequently used variable to be placed in the register may gain only a small performance improvement. For example, register optimizations. Programmers are usually in a better position than the compiler used to guess which variable will be used very frequently and thus can assign register storage to such variables. Modern compilers will easily find out the variables that will be frequently accessed and will place them accordingly. So this keyword is not supported in later C-based languages like Java and C#. Return. To return control back from the control called method, short, C, long, and init. Signed in both unsigned and signed are supported for integral types. The idea of separating unsigned from signed, the type started with the requirement of having a large range of positive values within the same available space. This idea is valuable in programming where low-level hardware access is required, and in system programming, signed and unsigned data types are implemented in the same way. The only difference is that the interpretation of the most significant bit varies. There are many nasty problems that are encountered in C due to misuse of unsigned values. A signed or value of a type may be preserved when an unsigned type is promoted to an integer. These are referred to as sign and value preserved respectively. The choice of it is an implementation detail and also a source of bugs in C. The size of operator is used to update the size of a type of a type or an object. It is important in writing portable code in C. Since the size of a data type differ depending on the implementation. Static. In C, the static keyword has an overloaded meaning and used in two different contexts. When used before global function, it limits the function's scope to the current value. When used inside a function, it indicates that the variable is a local scope but of static lifetime, meaning that the value remains between function construct. Struct keyword provides support for aggregate types. Switch. You can look at a switch statement as a specified version of an if-else cascade, but with limitations. You can do only equality checks and only integral type constant. Using switch instead of an if-else cascade helps in simplifying control flow and gives you the advantage of generating much faster code. In C, case statements fall through to the next case statement when an explicit break statement is missing, which is a source of many bugs in program. Type def. Type defs do not create new types. They just add new type names. In C, they are helpful in managing complex operations. They are also useful in abstracting the details from the users and thus help in increasing the portability of the code. It should be noted that type defs obey scopes rules and are not a textual replacement as opposed to defines. Unions can be considered a special case of structure. The syntax for both is mostly the same and only the semantics differ. Where memory is allocated such that it can accommodate the biggest member. Unions suffer many disadvantages in practice. For example, there is no built mechanism to know which union member is currently used to store the value. Unsigned C signed void specifies a non-existent or empty set of values. It is used in case of void pointers as a generic pointer type in C and as a return type of a function to specify that the function returns nothing. You cannot have objects of type void and hence this type is sometimes called pseudo type. Volatile. In C, volatile tells the compiler not to do any optimization on the variable qualified as volatile. This also indicates that the variable is asynchronous and the system or external sources will change its value. For example, suppose that you are reading from the serial code, the data may arrive and thus the field that contains the data may be modified externally without the programmer's intervention. In such cases, it's essential that the field declared be as volatile. While this provides an entry control looping mechanism, numbers, integer storage as a computer tools complement, just invert each bit of its positive binary value and add one. Mathematically, k, 2 power n, k, binary point numbers 0 is to 510, 0 is to 1 2, 1 2 power 1, 410, 1002, 1 2 power 2, 510, 101, 2, 1 into 2 power 1 plus 1 into 2 power 0. 2 colon 2 to 510 is equal to 1 0 0 1 2 R1 to 2 square plus 1 plus 2 square. Floating point representation, the IEEE single precision floating point standard representation that to bit word, which may represent as a number from 0 to 31 left to right. The first bit is the same bit. Yes, the next 8 bits are the exponent bits, E, and the final 23 bits are the fraction F. The value B represented by the word may be determined by as follows. If E is equal to 255 and F is non-zero, then V is equal to NAND. If E is equal to 255 and F is 0 and S is equal to 1, then V is equal to minus infinity. Or if E is equal to 255 and F is 0 and S is equal to 0, then V is equal to plus infinity. If E is greater than 0, less than 255, then V is equal to 1 sine 2 e power 127 and 1 is F. If E is 0 and F is non-zero, then V is equal to 1 sine 2 power 126 and 0 to F. If E is equal to 0 and F is 0 and S is 1, then V is equal to minus 0. If V is equal to 0, F is 0 and S is 1, then V is equal to 0. The IEEE double precision floating point standard represented as a 60-bit 4-bit word, which may be represented as a number from 0 to 63 left to right. The first bit is a side bit S, the next 11 bits are the exponent bits E, and the final 52 bits are the fraction M. The value V represented by the word may be determined as follows. If E is equal to 2047 and F is 0, then V is equal to 9. If E is equal to 2047 and F is 0 and S is equal, then V is equal to minus infinity. If E is equal to 2047, F is 0 and S is equal to 0, then V is equal to plus infinity. If E is greater than 0 and less than 247, then V is equal to 1S, 2E, 1023 and 1 to F. If E is equal to 0 and F is non-zero, then V is equal to S 2 power 1, 0 to 2 and 0 to F. If E is equal to 0 and F is 0 and S is 1, then V is equal to minus 0. If E is equal to 0, F is 0 and S is 0, V is equal to 0. S 1, E 8, 11 D, F 23 F, 52 D. Basic data types and variables. Size of all basic data types in C, 1-byte character, short, init, long, float is equal to 4 bytes, double is equal to 8 bytes. Pointer address word mostly same as word wide is equal to 1 byte. What is a qualifier? Signed T and unsigned T default for character in compiler dependent. For all others, it is same. Short T, long T, long T, note. Constant V, volatile V. Constant means read only and need not be constant. Volatile means be computed for every access. Qualifier static VJAF, extend VJAF after V. Default for globals is extend. For local variables, it is auto. Register V, request for a CPU register. Inline F, request for call replacement by code. Statement, simple statement and statement terminated. Is this code valid? Main bracket open bracket close, curly bracket 3 semicolon plus 5 semicolon, curly bracket end is a valid statement as it is a part of the statement and not just a statement terminated as in Pascal. The conditions for loop and if else blocks must evaluate to a Boolean value. That is true or false. In C, there is no separate data type for Boolean. Instead, anything with a value of 0, example, init I is equal to 0, evaluate to false and any other evaluates to true. Single step, if condition, statement, else statement, switch expression, case, value 1, statement, default statement, if condition, curly bracket open, if condition true, else curly bracket close, else curly bracket open, if condition false, curly bracket close. Conditional construct repetitive for initialize condition post process statement while condition statement do statement while condition. Looping techniques repeat 10 times for I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus code. I is equal to 0 when Y while I less than 10 code. Repeat till the condition for condition code, while condition code. Repeat forever for semicolon 1 colon code or while 1 code. For init main for unit x is equal to 0, x is less than 10, x plus print percentage slash n x is set to 0, while x is less than 10, it calls printf to display the value of the variable x, and it adds 1 to the x until the condition is met. Keep in mind all that the variables incremented of the code in the loop is run for the first time. While init main, init x is equal to 0, don't forget to declare variables. While x less than 0, while less than 0, print percentage slash n backslash n x plus update x, so the condition met eventually. Curly bracket close, curly bracket works. Do while loops are useful for things that want to do at least once. Hash include stdio.h init main init x is 0 do hello world is printed at least one time, even though condition is false. Print hello world backslash n while x not equal to 0. Keep in mind that you must include a trailing semicolon after the while in the above example. Declaration versus definition. Declaration is an announcement and can be done one or more times. Definition is an actual execution and should be done one exactly once. Syntax and semantics. Syntax is the punctuation and spelling of a language. Semantics is the vocabulary and grammar of the language. Operator. All C operators do two things: operates on its operand, return say value. Operator types based on number of operands: unary, binary, ternary operation, arithmetic, logical, relational, assignment, bitwise, language pointers, miscellaneous, long, double, double, float, unsigned, long, signed, long, unsigned, long, signed, long, unsigned, init. Signed init, unsigned short, signed short, unsigned character, signed character. Operation based on operators, that is straight through the example. Arithmetic init main, init I is 0, j is 0, printed percentage d star backslash n I plus j plus return 0, notes directions of expressions, evaluation versus associativity. Logical init main, int is a is 1, b is 0, plus a plus a or plus b, print in first if a is equal to percentage d, b is equal to percentage b, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 0. If b plus and a plus a. In second, if a is equal to percentage d, b is equal to percentage a, b, else in second, if a is equal to percentage b is equal to percentage a, b, return 0. De Morgan's law trick in init main, init a, b is equal to 0, c, if not a less than b and not a b less than c, equal to not less than a less than b, or b less than c. It works, else no, it did not work. Init main float f is equal to 0.7, if f is equal to 0.7, print equal, else print not equal. Assignment init main, a is equal to 1, b is c is equal to 1, e is equal to 1, float b is equal to 1.5, d is equal to 1.5, f is equal to 1.5. A plus equal to B plus equal to C plus equal to B plus equal to E plus equal to F. Init main, init x is equal to 0. If x is equal to 5, print it's equal to, else it is not. Bitwise in init bit count unsigned character, init count for count equals 0, x not equal to 0, x greater than equal to 1. If x and 0, 1, count plus return count. size of try this init main init x is equal to 5 print percentage u percentage u percentage u size of unit size of x size of y. Note the 3 reasons for why size of is not a function. Any type of operand, type of as an operand. No brackets needed across operand. Init main init I is equal to 0. Init j is equal to size of I plus I. Printf percentage d percentage d backslash I comma j. Assume size of init is 4 byte. The only C operator which operates during compilation itself, that is a compile time operator. Init main, init I, init arrays of I 0, 2, 4, 1, 3. For I is equal to -1, I less than size of array divided by size of init -1, I plus plus print percentage x backslash n array of I plus 1 node. Type this operator is complete follower of the type promotion tables. Notes. Visualizations, ternary operator. What will be the following expression evaluate? 1 question mark 5 colon 4 question mark 3 colon 6 comma operator. Init main init I is equal to 0 comma j is equal to 0 I j is equal to I plus plus question mark I plus plus colon I plus plus I j is equal to I plus plus question mark I plus plus comma j plus plus j colon plus plus j comma I plus plus. Init main character a hello world init I for I is equal to 0 I less than size of a -1 I plus plus print percentage c I of a. Arrays indexing. Array index starts from 0. This idea is exploited in case of strings and arrays having a close relation with pointers in C. Technically, it is necessary for arrays to start with index 0 as the array name can be treated as the base address, a pointer. The following demonstrate the array pointer equality. Init array ARR 10 init first element star ARR star ARR is equal to star ARR plus 0 star backslash init fifth element is equal to star ARR plus 5 comment add the index started from 1. This expression will access the sixth element not the fifth element. Array of terms multi-dimensional arrays, array of arrays, type dimension init array 30 of 30, init array 30 a. Notes bracket open close is size of x comma y syntactically correct. Dot it is commutative. We'll discuss on this during I also different discussion pointers and star that we will discuss all this during the pointer discussion. Precedence and associative operator unary plus minus and star by precedence and binary form bracket square bracket curly bracket square bracket left to right exclamation plus 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 minus star and type size of right to left slash percentage star right left to right plus minus left to right and greater than less than left to right greater than equal to less than equal to left to right equal to not equal to left to right and left to right or XR left to right J left to right and left to right JJ left to right question mark colon left to right to left equal to plus equal to minus equal to star equal to slash equal to percentage equal to and equal to power equal to j equal to less than equal to right to the left to right right left comma left to right. Non-operating operators. Operator symbols used are not operators. Example init a is equal to 5 f of a comma 3. Short circuit evaluation. embedded care with operators. There exists a short circuit evaluation for logic operators and JJ. And C introduced this tradition and is followed by the other three languages. The expression evaluated only so long as to determine the true value of the expression, also represents truth table context. The operator ignores the use of bitwise and logical operators seems to be equivalent in many cases. For example, init main, init I is equal to 0, 1, j is equal to 0. If I and j equal to I and j, print both seems equivalent. Printf I equal to percentage, j is equal to percentage, I comma j. The difference lies in shortcut evaluation. See this, init main, init I is equal to 1, j is equal to 1. If I not equal to j is equal to, or not j is equal to 1, printf but appearance can be deceptive. Printf I is equal to percentage, j is equal to percentage, I comma j. Had used a bitwise operator, the whole expression would be evaluated with just with j set 1. Due to short circuit error, we get different answers. Underflows and overflows in integral expressions, the results cross a limit, say init minimum or init maximum, underflow or overflow occurs, as the case may be, and the value rotates back according to the close complement representation of the integer. In case of floating point numbers, it may be lead to floating point exceptions, say sig FPE. Nowadays, most of the implementations provide support to IEEE 754 floating point standard that supports the plus minus input plus infinity stand for infinity and NAND. So when an overflow occurs, it goes to either infinity or not, as the case may be. Thank you.